If 2 is half of your children, you can scrounge up a pair of tents and toss it all in a minivan with the roof box on top. Look at that. Don't worry, they're small. They can get out of the back. You can go camping with 4 kids. We've done it for 3 weeks at a time and plan to do it again with a similar setup. It's coming summer. Welcome to bike physics. On a longer trip, you do pack a little bit more, and it is a little bit higher and fuller, but this is what it looks like. There we've got some towels, there's some random camping stuff, a couple of suitcases for some clothing, dirty clothes in the bottom corner. These hard cases take up a whole lot of room. That gray bag has a bunch of pillows in it, and the blue and the green box, that is for cooking at camp. Got a big old stove, all the cooking stuff, everything you need for cooking at camp. And there's the space you see inside, 2 kids in the back, 2 kids in the middle. It's not bad. They're not too big yet. So oldest is 12, youngest is 3. And here's what it looks like from the side. Packed up in the middle, but plenty of space for them. And look at all their stuff and where it all ends up. You're shopping every couple of days. But this, that's the step. So the people in the back row can get out and not step on all the stuff. Works out pretty well. The goal is to get everybody out of the vehicle without stepping all over everything. And I got a kid in the back to show us how to do this. All right, so go, get out of the car. It's time to eat lunch or go to the bathroom or whatever. Oh, look at that. That little step works, doesn't it? Nice, thank you. Between the seats, from front to back, we have the cooler. It's a pretty simple cooler. And then we have the main food supplies for grab and go for lunch. And then all the snacks and random stuff that gets thrown in there. This is the end of the trip. I'll have to fill that thing up and show you what's in there. And the grab and go lunch box of all the plates. We pretty much always made sandwiches, cheese and ham, pepperoni sandwiches. Some of these things, this bread doesn't get crushed easily, so it's very nice and convenient. A regular loaf of bread does. Roll of paper towels. That was a new one when we started 5 days ago. This is just water for washing hands if need be, and for drinking and filling water bottles as necessary. These are the 6 bowls which you use for breakfast. These are the 6 cups. Bowls are actually pretty thick and they don't stack small. These things are really convenient. I like them. They work out pretty well. This is the, we use butter and mustard. So this spreads butter and mustard pretty well and can pretty easily be wiped clean. That thing's out and ready to go. And this is the tool roll. It apparently glows in the dark. It's the tool roll for all of the implements that we use, the knives and forks and spoons. And if you're gonna make a tool roll, which I did 10 years ago, you probably should make it out of a better material than some random yucky towel, which isn't thick and doesn't resist forks or knives. Here's a tool roll. It's pretty simple. It does have a tie on it, which is very inconvenient, but whatever. It's a shoelace, and you just tie it on, spend a few seconds tying it on, and have the kids practice with knots. Inside it, we have all of this, all the spoons, plus the, I've got a 2.5-year-old who insists on one particular spoon and one particular fork. So a lot of spoons and all the knives, including the sharp ones, and of course, various types. These are just pretty much all camping spoons. Scissors, because you want to cut stuff open. Pretty often packages are easily cuttable with one of these or with a knife. Some more spoons. These are more serving spoons, and this is the custom spoon used. And then these are the forks and mixing for making hot chocolate, things like that. We keep it really simple, so we're not really carrying any cans of soda. We're not really carrying anything like that. Just drinking water, maybe juice for a meal that we buy at a supermarket, but keeping it nice and simple. A couple of serving spoons. Blue box on top of the big Tupperware boxes for easy access to important things. This is a Fanny Pack just in case you need to carry something along and you don't have pockets or something. This is binoculars if you're looking at far distances. It's actually too big and I don't use them too often. It may be better to have a telescopic lens on a cell phone, something like that, something simple. This is Had to buy this because one of the tents was leaking a little bit, but a water shield. The tent's old, you may want to check that thing out. This is a light that is way too big, but I bought it a decade ago, battery powered, and pretty simple LED light system run by D batteries. Way too big, but it does put out some good light. This, when you have two kids simultaneously puking in the back of the car and only one has a bag, when you clean it out, you're going to need some of this stuff. Febreze is important. This is a time of COVID-19. And this is an extra strap for things in the roof. This is the clothesline. So you get the clothesline and some clips. One of the campgrounds we were in did not allow clotheslines. An insect spray. Pain relief. This is pretty useful at home when some kid's crying. Didn't have to use it this time, but have had to use it in the past couple of months at home with the kids. Gloves, nitrile gloves just in case. Some kind of all-purpose cleaner. This is simple green. What's this called? This is a little brush to clean out the tent. So when the tent gets all dirty, you lift up one edge and bounce all the stuff to one side and then use this. This is it actually sticks. The stuff sticks to it and you get it out pretty easily. Better than a regular small hand brush. It works really well to clean out those tents. Just a little box of small garbage bags, quick and easy to use. A roll of duct tape, which gotta have duct tape. Bags from the supermarket, which are always useful with garbage bags also. Perhaps even instead of this little thing right here. A couple of balls, AAA batteries for the kids, headlamps, a frisbee, which we never used, and this one, which when the kids get bitten, and when my wife gets bit, the anti-itch lotion was used a lot over the past few days. There's a lot of rain, and spent a lot of time near water. It was humid. We were in the south, and there were a lot of bugs. The big boxes. Once you pull the big blue food box out, on the left-hand side is a seat. These are the poles for the shelter if it's raining or really sunny, above the picnic table, which we make a lot of use of. This is the rug for the feet just in front of the tent. Here's the hammer for the stakes. This one is way too big, and then behind there's plenty of space back here for the plastics underneath the tent, the ground cloths, and there are buried down in there 3 small children's seats and a hatchet. Grandpa kept this hatchet nice and sharp, and I used it to cut up the wood for kindling so you could actually have a fire, because the way they set up the kindling is generally not very good for fires unless you can get it started with a whole lot of gasoline or lighter fluid or something. On the right hand side we have a couple of suitcases, and that big bag has all the inflatable pillows in it, and then as time goes on you fill up this huge clothes bag, dirty clothes bag. It is full, and it is really takes up a whole lot of space, and with the uncollapsible nature of the suitcase and the suitcase, more and more space is taken up by the dirty clothes bag, which you don't want to put in these things because it makes everything smelly. 2 big Rubbermaid containers in a stack. The green one is for all the cooking stuff. That's that one. That's it stays about the same size inside and volume. It's really not much of a change. It's all for cooking. The blue one is food, and as you go along in your camping trip, that thing should get emptier as time goes on. We'll start with the blue one. Inside the big blue food box. Now for breakfast, we have breakfast cereal, whatever kind of breakfast cereal it is. And once time goes on, and even at the beginning, these things get empty. So these boxes take up a whole lot of space. It's totally unnecessary to have the boxes. Wow, look at that too. This is just very, very little we have left. So more space, don't use the box, but watch for crushing. If you want to cook some marshmallows and prepare some s'mores, these will melt. So you have to buy these day by day, as will the marshmallows. They'll get all hot and sticky and yucky. So there's about a half a bar left that I have not told the family about. I don't think my wife remembers, so that'll be eaten later today by me. This is hot chocolate, and it does kind of get solid after a while. This is a hot chocolate mix, which isn't as good with just water, but heating up water, you got to have some kind of kettle. This is relatively small This was a 1 liter? 1 liter max capacity kettle. It's an electric kettle, and that electric kettle you do need an extension cord. So grab the extension cord, plug in your kettle, heat up the water, and most of the time dinner is going to be some combination of some kind of sauce with some kind of macaroni or spaghetti or some kind of pasta, and some kind of meat cooked up to go along with it. Cheese is good for all this stuff, and there's some spices in the other one, and some instant coffee. I got used to instant coffee in Paraguay, drinking it down there. It works fine, whatever. And this is the sugar for my wife's coffee, and a little bit for mine, and for whatever other thing you need. And we'll talk about the actual coffee thing later. You'll notice that we don't have any kind of entertainment system in here, and we have driven 8 or 10 hours at a time, 500-600 mile days, with 4 kids in the car, or 3 kids in the car, or 2 kids in the car. And they get used to it. They've got books, they can play and talk and look out the window and stuff, and they fight sometimes, and they're not as quiet as you might like, and they do scream, but it is possible without the entertainment system. And I did this as a kid with my 2 sisters growing up. Breakfast is cereal, lunch is sandwiches at a picnic table from the car, and this is dinner. Big green Rubbermaid container, and this is what it is. These are the matches or a lighter to light the stove that we have, and this thing that is for lots of mosquitoes. So if you have a whole lot of mosquitoes, you light this thing up, and this is the container for it. Didn't use it on this vacation. I've only used it a couple of times, and it's way too big, but it's still sitting there for some unknown reason. This is from Grandma a long time ago. Still new, still haven't actually used it, but the water sack. So you can hang this thing up by this and use it for water. Haven't used it. Got the big green cooler with it in it. Have an extra propane canister and another extra propane canister. Probably only one extra is necessary because they're pretty easy to find. This is our Coleman stove. It's nice and old, but it's the only one we have that actually connects and has all the functions. And this is the cleaner. And here we have, so open it up, tilt it, pull everything out. Newspaper to set things on fire. A cutting board, measuring cups, which we've never actually used, but they're collapsible. So measuring cup, half and whole, not entirely necessary. Some kind of little towel to clean and dry. For cleaning, didn't really use this much, used that double-sided sponge. There's spices. All the spices are here, whatever spices, salt and pepper that you use. Bigger garbage bags and Ziplocs for food. The third canister, which we never actually went through. This is something that I custom made for coffee. So you toss some coffee grounds in there. It's got a tiny little exit hole with a bit of a filter, which actually works pretty well. You can see that I cut up an old cup, put that filter in it, so it fits right on top. It's actually pretty convenient. Put the coffee grounds in there, slowly pour some hot water inside, let it filter through, and you have a nice fresh cup of coffee. Actually works pretty well, but don't use the finest grind because it will get stuck in here. Relatively easy to clean as long as you're cooking out of the car. Not recommended for a backpack or anything like that. More spices. This is just the implements to use for cooking. Really only used these. Not much other than something like this that you can use in our basic cooking, which generally does include just some kind of meat and some kind of pasta with some kind of sauce, some cheese in it. And this is a really inexpensive non-stick saucepan with a lid on it. The lid does help keep things warm and allows things to boil faster and stay boiling because sometimes that stove doesn't put out the heat that you want. Basic frying pan. They stack into each other. We're not cooking a whole lot of food, even for the 4 children, 2 adults, and the lighter, just in case you want to light something, in addition to the matches. Backups for everything. And then the stove. Stove's an old one that I bought at a garage sale for $5 or something like that. Pretty basic, pretty simple. Opens up. 2 burners are good. If you want to go 1 burner, you can go 1 burner, but it is less convenient. Sometimes we only did use 1 burner, so it may be more convenient to have 2 separate stoves that fit into a smaller space if you're looking for that. And then this piece comes out, screws into the side over here, attaches off on the side, and then the canister sits off on the side like that. It's pretty basic, pretty simple, and works really well. And we go through one of these maybe once a week, something like that. Goodness, that is a lot of dirty clothes. At least the size of 1 suitcase, plus a little bit more. Sheesh, takes up a lot of space. And this is the bag that's probably totally unnecessary, but it's got some pillows. I need 2 pillows, 1 between my knees while I'm on my side, and 1 under my head. This is a nice one. They're all pretty inexpensive. This is a pretty nice one that works for multiple positions. I'll open that up in a second. And this thing is a little hammock. Pretty cool. Inflatable pillow. Pretty nice. Now this thing, you can roll it up and put it together as a zipper for a nice big fat gigantic pillow. Or what I like to do is just kind of like lie on my side, roll up 2 or 3 of them and lie on it like that. Up top we have the tents and everything for them. 2 tents, 6 sleeping bags, 6 pads for sleeping, and whatever else you can fit up there. Here's what's in the box. We have the double sleeping bag for the parents. The like 3-inch thick Alps mountaineering air bags. Oh, they are air mattresses. They're really nice. And another one of those. And then 2 air mattresses for the kids, small tent for the children, big tent for the adults, and 2 small children. This is the sunshade for when it rains or when it's really sunny over the picnic table, and all 4 of the sleeping bags. And it's hot, so the sleeping bags are pretty thick and we don't really use them much, but that's what goes in the top box. And as those kids get bigger, oldest is 12 right now, they set up more and more and they help more and more. It's pretty nice. Builds skills. There are 2 tents, work out pretty well. And here's the little mat just outside the tent where we put our shoes. Keeps the tent a little less dirty. It's Camping with 4 Kids. Suggestions, comments, questions, down below. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Bike Physics for all the bicycles and motorcycles and family adventures. And thanks for that thumbs up too. Really helps a lot. New videos most Tuesdays. Subscribe for more. If you haven't figured it out yet, I got this other channel called Learn Physics. It's all about physics and education and that kind of thing. So check that out too.